Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, the channel where we dive into the wild world of entitled people and their unbelievable stories. Hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's go. Guys, I never thought I'd have a story so soon after joining this sub. I, 36 female, and Hubs, 36 male, live in a suburban-ish neighborhood surrounded by boomers. Mostly because so few people are age-own home. Honestly, about 90s of them haven't been bad and keep to themselves for the most part. It's a quiet street. Randomly, a grocery store shopping cart showed up on the sidewalk of our neighbor's house. It was very odd, but school's out, so maybe it was just a prank from a few streets over. We figured whoever lifted it would either come back for it or it would get picked up on trash day. While it was strange, I'm a firm believer in minding your own business. Well, my husband was walking the dogs on the opposite side of the road when out storms entitled Boomer Karen. We've never met this woman. She's a tenant, not the owner who is a nice older man. She parks on an adjacent street since it's a corner house and must enter that way too. We've never crossed paths. She goes up to my husband and demands to know why there is a shopping cart there. Now, Reddit, my husband is not a confrontational man, so he just kind of stared at her for a second before saying, "How should I know?" She points over at our house and demands to know if he lives there. He says yes, and she says, well, Mr. X, landlord's name, wouldn't do this, so you have to take it back. My husband was stunned. This woman starts telling him that since her landlord clearly didn't park a shopping cart there, we must have, and we need to return it to the store because it might get washed into the road when it rained and rolled down the street and hit her car. And that the other tenant couldn't back his car out of the driveway, and it's our responsibility to do the right thing. It was about 30 feet away from the driveway. Now, my husband told her if she wants to play Nancy Drew, she's welcome to, but he has better things to do. And before he walked off, some random truck pulled up, threw it in their truck bed, and left without a word. The look on her stupid red face was priceless. I'll never understand the entitlement of boomers. My fiancé, 35 male, and I 33 NB, are getting married in 2 weeks in our backyard. We will be having a catering spread for our reception afterwards. We decided to have a dry wedding for 2 reasons. My mom is an alcoholic who is known for making a scene when she gets drunk, and my fiancé has a brother who binge drinks and has had alcohol poisoning on more than one occasion. He doesn't drink all the time, but if he starts, he can't stop until he either passes out or someone physically restrains him from getting more. I also have an uncle, mom's brother, and a stepdad who are in recovery and don't need the temptation. Neither fiancé and I are big drinkers, so we decided to just avoid any problems and just have a dry wedding. We will have a less dry reception party honeymoon with some of our friends later on. All of our families have been supportive. My uncle was especially grateful to us for doing this since he takes his recovery very seriously and has been 7 years sober. I sent out wedding invitations 4 months ago and said it would be a dry wedding and asked people not to bring alcohol. Now today I get this call from my mom, who I also sent an invitation to 4 months ago. Mom, is it true you're not having alcohol at your wedding? Me, yes. Fiancé and I decided we didn't want alcohol during our special time. Mom, that's so silly. It's going to make your wedding boring. Me, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but your fiancé and I have made our decision. We want everyone to feel comfortable at our wedding. Mom, clearly you don't care about my comfort. What if I want to have a little drink to pass the time? Me, like you did at a different uncle's wedding where you got so drunk and made a horrible scene calling your uncle's wife gold digger. Mom, it wasn't my fault. They made the drinks there too strong. Me, right. I really wish you would address this need to have alcohol wherever you go. Mom, I don't need to have alcohol. I just think your wedding will be boring without it. You want to have a fun wedding, don't you? Me, it will be a fun wedding. We don't need alcohol to have fun. Mom, this is so stupid. Why should everyone else be punished just to make it comfortable for a few people? It seems like you care more about uncles and his stepdad than anyone else. Me, or maybe I just want to avoid any scenes. Mom, I just told you that wasn't my fault. Me, just like your Dewey isn't your fault? Mom, how dare you bring up that difficult time in my life? I was going through a lot emotionally. What the hell is wrong with you kids? You need to mind your own business. If I want to drink, that's my business. Me, Well, my wedding is my business. We do not want alcohol there. That's final. I can't stop you if you decide to pregame my wedding. But I've already made it clear to uncles and brothers that if you cause a scene, that you are to be made to leave. Mom starts crying. Why do you kids hate me so much? What did I ever do to deserve to be treated like this by my children? Me. Are you really ready for me to go down that list? Mom, none of you understand. None of you will ever understand. I'm the mother of the bride. I should be treated better than this. Me. I think I've treated you pretty well during this process. I've acquiesced your boyfriend who I don't even know coming to my wedding. I've even given in to some of your other demands. So please tell me how you've been mistreated. Mom, you didn't invite me to go dress shopping. The mother of the bride always goes dress shopping with her daughter. I barely know my own fiancé because you never bring him around me. How do I know that you're marrying the right person? Me. That's because Aunt made my dress. Mom, sarcastically. Well, isn't that just special? Me, sighing. As for the rest, I think you know why. We aren't really close enough for you to have any say in who my significant other is. Honestly, Mom, I'm done with this conversation. If you really feel that strongly about this, I'll understand if you don't want to attend my wedding. Mom, oh, I bet you'd like that, wouldn't you? One way or another, you will respect me as your mother. Me, sure, Mom. I'm hanging up now. Bye. Guys, I'm so livid right now. I have half a mind to uninvite her. I spoke to my dad and her brother. My uncle thinks her drinking is getting really bad again and has been wanting to hold an intervention. I told him I'm focused on the wedding right now, but that I definitely agree this was out of line and something needs to be done. What do I do? I don't want her ruining my wedding, but I'm so tired of dealing with this. Sorry, this is probably above Reddit's pay grade, but I just needed to vent. Update. I sent a text reiterating the rules. She said she knows where she isn't welcome and said she won't attend. My dad told me not to worry about this anymore and that he'll see to it she doesn't ruin my wedding. Update 2. I sent this text to my mom. Mother, at this point, I'm going to officially uninvite you from my wedding. I'm not going to allow you to change your mind, and I'd prefer it if you do not come to my wedding at all, given your poor behavior. At this point, I've decided I don't want any further contact with you unless you decide to curb your toxic behaviors and drinking. I wish you the best. I hope you can find a way to heal, but I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry if this hurts you, but I can't handle you in my life anymore. If you try to force the issue, I'll be forced to take legal action up to and including contacting law enforcement. Please don't contact me again. I went to delete her from my Facebook page only to find a post that she had just written saying how being a mother is a thankless job and how she doesn't understand how she raised rude and judgmental kids. She ended it by saying she hopes her kids get over themselves someday. I'm done. This sucks, but it's been a long time coming. My head hurts. Sole intention of renting it out. Now, I didn't know how bad the HOA was, but when I became the owner, I soon found out. This all took place in 2 years' time. Karen would literally have a problem with everyone in the neighborhood. Trash cans left out. Fined loud music after 10 p.m. Fined yard sale without permission. Fine, removing dead plants and replanting without approval, you get fined. It went on like this. Now the community could run for the HOA board, but the HOA board chose the president 6 out of the 10 members on the board liked Karen, so she always kept her job. Her husband was in the medical field, so he had a lot of money. It got to a point, too, where she was called Queen Karen in the neighborhood and her dishing out HOA fines. Now I used to go in person to collect the rent because the people that rented my house were good friends of mine. I did this for months. So I would park my car by the front of the garage. I and my friends were having some music on, but it wasn't that loud. Queen Karen came over driving her golf cart and said, Queen Karen, excuse me? Me, yeah? Queen Karine, you have to turn that music down, it's too loud. I told her that it was 8 p.m. and that music that's even loud can be played until 10. She wasn't having it and demanded that I do so. Now my friends and I kept the music going and we were enjoying ourselves. She proceeded to get angry and fine me. Now most people will just take the abuse and pay the fine. But not me. I went to the HO board, contested the fine, and won. From that point on, Queen Karen made it her personal mission to destroy me. She would witch and fuss about every little thing. I fought what I could, but I did end up paying for some of it. She also went after my tenants, which made things worse for me. I had a sit-down with my friends one night to discuss the problem. When I parked my car, Queen Karen came over in her robe and said I have to park somewhere else. I did because I didn't want to start anything. We see her go back into her house and embrace a man that isn't her husband. We were being noisy, and we came to the conclusion that she was cheating on her husband. Spoiler alert. She was... My friends and I told Queen Karen's husband. I'm sure he did some investigation because 3 months later, they divorced and he was moving his stuff out. Now, gossip said that Queen Karen got nothing because she was the one that cheated and she didn't have a job. So she wasn't entitled to the money. From this point on, Queen Karen had a massive decline in the quality of life that she had. She sold her car and got a cheaper one, and she adopted different dressing habits. But even after the divorce, she never got a job, and she was still living somewhat better than everyone else. Fast forward to 1986. In February, Queen Karen and the HOA had been giving out fines for very obscure things and increased monthly dues. Having trash cans out a couple of hours early or after the trash man left would result in a fine. Targeting people that had older or dirty cars goes on and on. Me and the other people of the community were sick of the crap that she and the HOA were pulling. So at the next meeting, we made out voices our concerns. Queen Karen said that the community had been falling behind on repairs and that the dues and increase in fines were necessary, especially if people weren't maintaining their own property. She said that it was in the yearly budget report and that we should have read it. The other pissed residents and I go and read the statement. Now, none of us read it because we take it as a junk mail and disregard it, but we read the whole statement cover to cover. Queen had increased the HOA budget 15%, and where that extra money was going remained unknown. We went over to her house the next day and demanded to know where the extra money was being spent, but she refused several times. She closed the door and went back to watching TV. We filing a joint lawsuit to find out where the money was going. In June, we found out, cue the revenge. Queen Karen was living off HOA fines and dues. The increase is because she was running out of money. She still didn't have a job, so she embezzled from the HOA so she wouldn't have to get a job. She gets busted. We called the police for her embezzling the money. She was charged with fraud and extortion. The neighbors and I filed a joint lawsuit against Karen to get reimbursement as well. Because she had no money, so she had to mortgage her house to pay us all. She later went to federal prison for 6 years with no parole. Because she went away, no one was paying on her house. The bank foreclosed on it, and it was bought by someone else. So when she got out in 1992, she was homeless. Honestly, the majority of us didn't want to ruin her life like this. Had she toned down the excessive fines, we would have let her be. But she had to double down and steal from us because she didn't want to get a job like everyone else. Enjoying the stories yet? If you do, please subscribe, like, and comment. So there we were, me and my spouse soaking up the last rays of the sunset on this chill beach vacation. We'd been planning this trip forever, and finally, we were living the dream. Now let me give you the lowdown on us. Just a regular couple, living for those worthy moments. Yeah, no. The sun was doing its golden descent thing, casting that perfect warm glow on everything. I turned to my husband Jake and gave him the look. The one that says, "Babe, work your magic behind the lens." And he did. He's got this knack for capturing the moment, and he snapped a pic of me with the sun dipping low behind me. Now it's his turn. I handed him the phone, and I'm getting ready to capture the essence of him against that breathtaking backdrop when, out of nowhere, enters Karam. Yep, Karen with a capital K. I'm trying to be cool, thinking maybe she just wants to enjoy the view or something. But no, Karen had other plans. Hey, you two lovebirds need to move. I've been waiting forever to get a shot of my precious little Jimmy over there, she says, pointing to her son who, by the way, was chasing seagulls and paying zero attention to the beautiful sunset. Now I'm thinking, okay, lady, we're on vacation too, and we're trying to capture memory. Can you not? I tell her politely. Just be a sec, promise. But oh boy, Karen wasn't having it. She starts going off on a tirade about how she's been waiting for eternity, and her precious moments are slipping away. I'm rolling my eyes at this point because, come on, we're talking about a kid running in circles, not a Hollywood movie shoot. I try to reason with her. Look, instead of arguing, I could snap the pic of your son and we'll be out of your hair in a jiffy. Thought I was being reasonable, but Karen wasn't having any of it. She's going on about entitlement and how people are so selfish these days. Pot calling the kettle black much? Then, out of the blue, she snatches my phone and flings it into the ocean like she's some Olympic discus thrower. I'm standing there, jaw dropped, staring at the ripples where my phone used to be. Cue the dramatic scream. Are you out of your mind? That's my phone. My husband Jake goes into full superhero mode, whips out his phone and dials the cops. Meanwhile, Karen is looking all smug, like she just won an epic battle for the last beachfront photo spot. The cops show up, and Karen, bless her heart, tries to spin this tale about how we were ruining her vacation and she needed justice for her stolen moments. The cop, probably having dealt with one too many entitled folks, wasn't having it. He took one look at the ocean, then at Karen, and started writing up a ticket faster than you can say Karen's gone wild. Ma'am, you just destroyed someone's property, and that's against the law. You're getting a hefty fine for this, the cop says, not batting an eye. Karen goes from smug to shocked real quick. She starts stammering, realizing that her little power move just backfired big time. Jake and I are trying to hold back our grins because, seriously, who throws someone's phone into the ocean? The cop hands her the ticket and with a stern warning, lets her off. She's fuming and we're doing our best not to burst into laughter. Morale of the story, don't mess with people's vacation vibes and definitely don't chuck their phones into the ocean. Karma's a beach, Karen, and she just handed you a fine. So my mom had insisted that I stay with her for my job during the lockdown. It's still going on where I live. So I did, and I regretted it, to the point that I'm losing more money than my job can pay me. I have a job at Amazon in their distribution center. Basically, I sort the packages to get to the customer's residence. I have the night shift. It sucks. I have mental health issues in night shift, plus stress from mom, plus the drive made me look elsewhere for work. I found a good job that pays more, about $8.80 more than what I make now. It's in the daytime. That's the best bit. That's where the problems start. So my current job has me drive 100 miles round trip and eats my gas and mileage like Pac-Man and his pellet. I get roughly $19 an hour, but the reason this is worse. Mom expects me to pay her $500 a week for rent. My paycheck is roughly $760. Take away $500 and I have $260 left. After making payments on my car, which is $180, I have $80 to pay for gas. Gas where I am is $3.98 a gallon. I use up nearly $60 to fill up from when the gas light turns on to full. So, yeah, I need somewhere else. Now my new job, which I start 3 days after writing this, is in the day and is remote. I can work from home as long as I have a computer of sorts, a smartphone, and internet. The job pays more, and my mother saw my text to my grandparents about it. Well, guess who decides to tear me a new one? If your guess was my entitled brat of a mother, you'd be right. Now my mom doesn't take care of the house, at least since I came back. I had to vacuum, fix anything that breaks, mow the lawn, cook, and take care of my sister. That doesn't sound like an entitled mother. That sounds like you being a member of the household. I know that's what you're thinking. Well, let's put her back to the ways of the entitled mother. Mowing the lawn has to be done on Fridays between 9 and 10 a.m. My night shift doesn't let out until 11:50, and even then, it's a 40-minute drive if there's no traffic. With traffic, I'd be lucky to be home before 2:30 p.m. So I get chewed out for not having it done then. I can't get any sleep until I finish my chores. Now I need to sleep from 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. so I can get enough sleep. She won't let me go to bed until well after 9. Zero pamp. So on 2.5 hours of sleep, I have to drive 50 miles on a busy highway that's under construction, mind you. I have no personal property. I have a phone that she bought me as a 17th birthday present. She is now handing me the bill for the phone. She bought me an iPhone XR, brand new for like $1,000. I got a military-grade protector case and a shatterproof screen cover. She demanded that I turn off my passwords for all of my devices that I paid for. So aside from the $500 rent, I now have to pay $1,000 for a birthday gift to myself. She adds $50 a week for interest. She has to read all of my emails, texts, see all of my contacts, hear every phone call on speaker, and can use my laptop as she likes. I had to purchase antivirus software after I got 9 on my laptop. She gets into my spam and clicks the links. You know, the "you want a free iPad? Click here to receive it." I had to use money that I don't hardly have to purchase antivirus software that keeps the viruses off the system. Any food that I buy, she eats instantly, claiming that it's her reward for raising me. My Nintendo Switch, that I bought and have a 5-year warranty on, was sold to a pawn shop. It still had my login info, credit card, PayPal, about $259, 98 cents in gift cards, and $412, 22 cents in reward points, and 512 gigabyte micro SD card. My Switch was worth a lot and she sold it for $50. Yes, $50. But thank God that when they booted it up, they saw my contact info in the account settings. I got called asking why it was sold with all of that still on it. I told them that I didn't sell it and had a warranty for another 3 years on it. Well, I got it back without any hassle. The Switch itself was my purchase. Everything else was family members sending me gift card after gift card for it. Needless to say, that new job is my ticket out of here. I put in my 2 weeks' notice already, so I'm ready for the new job. I can pay her ridiculous fees and save up enough to get an apartment again to get away. I'm going no contact with her, not my sister, but her. Now, seeing that this new job is better pay, and on the day when she's at her job, she decides that I have to stay with Amazon because I can't do remote work from her house. So apartment hunting, I go. I got a car, but she holds the title deed. It's her car, but I'm shelling out hundreds a month so she doesn't have to pay for it. Well, guess who has to get a new car without her name on it? Me. I want to get out of this hellhole, but she's emotionally and mentally manipulative. She says that this new job isn't going to pay me this right off the bat. The paycheck is what management. And I agreed upon. It's on my contract, and if they violate it, that's a hefty fine. She then tells me that those hours are fake, once again, agreed upon, and in my contract, 38, 40 hours a week anymore, and I get paid overtime. Now she's trying to get family members involved to get me to stay with Amazon. They all say she's crazy. Well, now I have her crazy friend group on Facebook who think I'm a minor I can go grab a beer whenever I want. So, yeah, she's Mother of the Year material. I hate her. Edit. Thanks for all your responses. You guys got some good advice down in comments. I've got some arrangements set up. I'll be moving either later this afternoon or sometime tomorrow. Just thanks for your kind words. This all happened around Christmas, New Year's, but I just found this sub and I'm obsessed with it now, so I have to give my story. My grandparents immigrated to Canada from Italy in the 70s and opened up a restaurant. When they passed away, the restaurant went to my parents. Over the decades, they grew and expanded it. I've been working at the restaurant since I was 15. Over time, my parents got older and eventually retired, becoming snowbirds, go to Florida for the winters. They left the restaurant to me about a few years ago, but still retaining a small % ownership as an additional revenue stream, along with their savings and annuities. Soon as I gained control, I pretty much modernized the old place. Remodeled the restaurant, changed the logo, reached out to local and national papers to put out ads, invited food critics, bloggers, vloggers, etc. It was very slow at first, and I began to worry that the loan I took out to do all this was the biggest mistake I had ever done, and I ruined 3 generations of my family's business, but eventually it began to work. And a local semi-famous YouTube featured us in one of his videos, and that was the catalyst for more people to come and review, and eventually we were seeing 5XA, 10x the business we usually get, even if it's a Monday. We became a hotspot for major events, and it wasn't uncommon for a celebrity to come. On those nights, I even arranged for special high-profile chiefs to visit and cook for our guests. Costs a fortune. So during the holidays, we were beyond packed. It got to the point where people would have had to make reservations in July to get a table in December. This process took years to get to where we are now. When it gets busy, I don't just sit in the back office. I'm on the floor doing whatever needed to be done. Even if that means I greet people, blizzing tables, or even mopping the floors. Other nights when we have high-profile guests or events, I'm in a blazer and acting in charge, though. On one night, a group of 6 women walk in. 5 of them look like they're still in their early 20s, and the head of the group looked like she was in her mid-20s. Best theory, she was one of the other 4 girls' older sister, or possible older sorority sister to incoming college freshmen, maybe. I was greeting at the door. As they were walking up, Queen Bee Karen was telling the baby Karens on how this place is awesome. Food is amazing, and there might even be celebrities here. When she came up to me, she told me she needed a table for 6. I replied, of course, can I please get the name of the reservation? She looked at me and said, oh, I didn't make one, but it's okay. The owner is a personal friend of mine. He said he always has 1 or 2 tables that he keeps open for special guests and said we can have one of those tonight. Now, generally, this is true of many high-profile restaurants, and lately I have been doing that as well, but I had no clue who this woman was, and she definitely never spoke to me about any of this. I did get she was trying to get in without a reservation, but she literally picked the worst person she could possibly talk to and try this. I told her, I am sorry, but we cannot seat anyone without a reservation. As you can see, we do not any seats available. I didn't want to go all out and say, I'm the owner, and we have never spoke before, so I never promised you a thing because I didn't want to embarrass her in front of the other girls she was with. At first. She then went on and said out loud to one of the other girls to take a picture of me. She will speak to the owner and make sure I'm either cleaning the toilet or fired by the end of the week. The other girls following her lead were like, yeah, kiss your minimum wage job goodbye. I'm not sure if they were in on it with her or they honestly thought she knew the owner. Queen Bee Karen then went on and said, look, you can just give us a table or I can make life very difficult for you. This is not worth losing your job. Constantly pointing, just trying to put me down, saying things like, obviously you aren't anyone here because if you were, you would know who I am and never even try to tell me anything other than yes or of course. Constantly trying to belittle me and get that table. At this point, it was a long day for me in the way I saw it. I had 3 options. 1, tell her I'm the owner and just call her out on all of this. 2, just give her the table and let it be 3. Teach Queen Bee Karen and her little minions a lesson. I chose option 3 for various reasons, including some personality flaws I'm aware that I have, but I like to think it was at least 50s really wanting to teach her a lesson. I smiled at her, said, of course, ma'am, follow me, please, and I gave her one of the 3 tables we keep open in case a celebrity comes. It happens time to time. I told her I apologize for everything, and she is right. It would be simpler to just give her the table. I also told her that first 3 rounds of drinks will be complimentary. I sat them down and personally served them. As they were sitting down, I told them we do need one of your credit cards and IDs just to keep on file, and we will give it back to you before you leave. Queen Karen gave me her cards and told the baby Karen minions that tonight was on her. I took their orders and got them their free drinks and told them due to how busy we are tonight there might be a delay on the food. All the girls were thinking of and cared about were their free rounds. They ordered their 3 rounds and still no food. They eventually called me and asked me to check on it the whole time, giving me the world's most nasty attitude since even before they ordered. I told them I will check on it, but also asked if they would like any more drinks. They ordered 2 more rounds by the time the appetizers arrived. At this point, they are all drunk, having done nothing but drink on an empty stomach most of the night and only having had salads after. As more food arrives, the more drinks are ordered. What these girls never realized was they are at our VIP table, which alone costs a few thousand just to sit in, but I didn't charge them for that. What I did charge them for was all the super expensive cocktails they had throughout the whole night, except for the first 3 rounds. In addition, the table they were sitting in, as mentioned, was VIP, so the menus were a bit different for one they don't say prices on them, trade secret, and in addition it had certain higher-end menu options such as white truffle, black caviar dishes, and specially imported West Coast oysters, among other things. At one point in the night, I was honestly rethinking what I was doing and thought I might be going too far with these poor girls. They might not know any better, but some things reassured me throughout the night. Such as one of the baby Karens asked me if I felt like my life was worthless since all I ever became was a waiter. Also, one of my other employees told me how they were discussing how to F with me to the point that they can just do this whenever they want, and I will know to always give them a table. I also overheard them say he's cute, but I would never date a waiter like that. He is such a pushover. There were a bunch of comments like that the whole night. So I kept on with their life lesson. By the end of the night, each girl racked up a bill in the range of $500, $600 per girl. When I handed Queen Karen the bill of $4,232.23 with tax and tip included, of course. I've never seen anyone sober up so quickly. She went from laughing and giggling with her friends to nearly in tears. She called me over instantly and asked if this was some kind of joke. I took the bill, looked it over, and said, "Oh, yes, I apologize. I will get you the correct bill in a moment." Again, she felt a complete sense of relief thinking she got someone else's bill, called me a effing idiot, and went on to talking to her friend. To be fair, I did make a mistake. I did forget to count her 8th order of a dozen oysters that costs about $120 per order. So I gladly just went back and added it to the order. When I went back to give her the correct bill, she flipped out again, going crazy. I just asked if there was something on this bill she didn't order. She and the girls in shock go over every single line of the bill, including the first few lines that show their original 3 rounds, which say complimentary. They then took out their phones and line by line went over everything line by line for the 100th time, adding everything up. Extremely rattled, Queen Bee Karen simply said, "1 second, I need to use the washroom." Part of me thought that she might just pull a dine and dash and leave the baby Karens with the bill, but kind of low-key I did in a way remind her we had her ID and CC without making it obvious. I thought she was going to run out on the bill. 10 minutes later, she comes back with new makeup. Obviously, she's been crying and makes up a whole story on how the food was awful, the drinks were bad, and so on. Demanding that as bare minimum I should cut the bill in half with the agreement the baby Karens will chip in, even though she originally told them the night would be on her. Then, as if a light bulb went off in her head, she again mentioned her relationship with the owner as if it were to give me additional incentive to cut the bill in half. Holding back a grin at this point, I told her no. Just no, I can change the bill. She whips out her phone and shows me a series of texts with someone called my restaurant's name owner, which pretty much I realized was what she was doing in the bathroom, just probably changed one of the other Karen minions' contact name and deleted previous texts, so start this new script. I read them, then clicked on Contact Into and told her that's not the owner's cell number. Her reply was he has multiple phones for business and stuff. Of course, you don't know all his numbers. I remember, wow, this girl thought of everything except I'm the actual owner. I told her how about this if we call him and he says that it's okay to take $50 off the bill, then I'll do it. Her reply was a yelling and screaming over the time where the few remaining customers all began to start looking, and I knew okay time to end this. I told her already in a less accommodating voice, "Cut the crap, little girl. You don't know the owner. You have never been here before, and if you keep yelling, I will call the police." Her demeanor changed, and she was trying to defend herself the best she could. My reply to her weak comebacks was my grandparents founded this restaurant. My family has been running this place for generations. I've worked here almost my entire life. I am the one and only owner. This restaurant and I have never once seen you, heard of you, and I definitely never made a stranger. I don't know and have never met before tonight any promises. The mini Karens were just frozen and didn't even know how to react. Queen Bee Karen was in tears. I said, "Now I gave you the table you wanted, one of your specially reserved tables for high-end clients, which I didn't charge you for, and I gave you 3 rounds of free drinks if you don't pay your bill. I will call the cops and then hand them your ID." In tears, Queen Karen signed the bill and the mini Karens took out their purses to give her whatever cash they hand, which equaled to maybe a couple of hundred, with the promise to pay her back more. 2 days later, a man walks into my restaurant fuming and asks one of my bartenders to speak to me. I was in the back office for a bit working, so he waited a good half hour for me. He was Queen Bee Karen's father. She was with him too, keeping her head down. I took them both to my office, showed him highlights of the security cameras, which were especially good quality of audio because they were in the Veep, which we had to keep good records of, because we have had other unrelated incidents before. So I showed him most of it, their comments, their orders, their everything. When all was said and done, he stormed out with her and was screaming at her the whole time they were walking away. Haven't seen or heard from either of them since, but the original bill I gave them, the one that didn't count the $120 oysters, is framed on my desk. Side note, I didn't lose as much overhead on the table and 3 rounds as you might think the table was originally supposed to be empty. So I didn't lose anything since I didn't expect to gain anything to begin with, and the overhead for the food and other drinks more than covered the loss on the 3 free first rounds. I thought about posting this on Nuclear Revenge, but I read some of the stories there and I think making this girl pay a few thousand and give her a life lesson doesn't qualify some of the revenge there is life-ending revenge stories and losses in the tens or hundreds of thousands. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Share your own experiences, opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more epic tales.